We're wrapping up season 6 of On the Edge this week and looking back at the amazing season. We've brought you different kinds of motorsports that took place on ice, on water, and on land. The competition was intense and the adrenaline was flowing. We had our share of close calls and metal crunching crashes. It's time now to take a look back.
Got it tacked up, and if you get too close, you're getting cracked up. Stone cold when I roll, coming out of the hole. Get back, cause I'm out of control. I'm on the edge.
We got down and dirty this season with a number of events that took place in the muddiest of conditions. Let's check them out.
Let's get things started here. Take on our first couple of trucks. Nick Hendricks in the Suicide, Roger Cardone in the Bubba.
We were at Indianapolis, Indiana, the four-wheel off-road jamboree, baby, at the State Fairgrounds, and Bubba was having his way with Suicide.
Yeah, this is a great event. Fans really have an awesome time coming out here. The Bubba truck, as you can see, is set up for speed. That one has a lot of alterations done to it, and it's very, very fast. Handles great, and Bubba went on to a win here. He made it look easy.
And you're right, Ken. Roger had that truck set up perfectly because if you start off here in Indianapolis, you start in the dirt, you make your way back onto the pavement. So you really got a big transition from the dirt to the pavement. So you almost got to have two setups here.
The Mid-Ohio Geothermal, another truck that's set up for racing, and you can see the big difference here in regards to suspension and how these vehicles handle and how they work. Just dominating the truck on the inside lane, and that's pretty much the way it went as those two guys lined up for a race a little bit later in the day in this event, which of course incorporates a lot of different things for the fans to come out and enjoy.
Here's Josh Fridley and Raymond Scholes in that Trail City 4x4, and you're right, they've got it all here, Ken, from burnout competition, mud drags, what you're watching right here with these trucks, which is probably the funnest thing to watch, but there's all kinds of things here at the Jamboree.
Oh, and problems for Fridley back there. You can see he got in a little trouble. But the Trail City 4x4 hanging it out on the back of the truck. It said yellow is fast. All right, let's go to the mud drags. Talk about wild.
Supercharged, injected, big cubic inch Chevrolets and a Bantam Roadster. And here's a couple of them side by side.
Levankin and Lawson leaving a little bit late right there.
Whoa,
but
baby!
Gets into a lot of trouble as he lands up on top of that K-rail. Gave everybody a scare for just a moment, but the cockpit itself was actually just fine.
Yeah, Lawson walked away A-OK, but watch it once again here from the top end camera, right up on its side, upside down into the guardrail, and from this camera angle, looked far more violent than it actually was, Ken.
All right, let's go to Hutchinson, Minnesota. The tough truck's out here, man. Put on a show for the fans. The fans love it. It's a lot of fun for the drivers as well. You can see them already rubbing his racing here, and they are not afraid to rub.
And this year when we were down there in Minnesota, this corner in years past right here, we're calling it turn number 2. It's actually turn number 1. We used to have trouble. Actually, they have trouble, obviously, right there, right now. But we used to flip a lot of trucks there, and it's not happening quite as much this year.
These guys are kind of used to it. They are used to the competition. You can see not a whole lot of extra stuff going on inside there, kind of a minimal roll cage, and they do have some safety harnesses on. The steering column, pretty much stock inside of the truck. The suspension, very, very close to stock.
Adam Hartwood making it look like he's just out for a Sunday cruise. Listen to the RPMs, not spinning the motor much at all. And we got to also remember, you can tell by looking, we had a lot of rain at this particular event in Minnesota this year.
You mentioned it before, making it look easy, now kind of hanging out.
This truck has been the dominating truck for the past several years, and always driving that thing one-handed like that. And the only thing really different this year, Ken, that I noticed when we were in Minnesota is the big steel plate on the side of the door.
That's Albrecht right there trying to see where he's going. He's got the window net up, so he can't hang out the side. The hood up in front of his face, a little steam out of the engine, but he's forging forward.
Yeah, he's actually passing trucks. Of course, that machine there, that Chevrolet's got the left rear tire clear gone. In
There
fact,
it is.
there it is.
And of course, the guys are driving around the tires out here, but more importantly, they were all out here having a blast.
Having a good time, man. It's kind of the wide open category. I mean, obviously there are rules and limitations. However, when you can go out there and have a good time with the hood up, don't get much better than that.
All right, now we take you to the hill climb, the Verticross hill climb in Columbus, Montana. It gets serious fast right here.
Yeah, this is the first time we did a side-by-side drag racing style, and it was a good time. And again, a lot of rain prior to the event.
Oh! Of course, these guys are eating some of the stuff, including the handlebars and a little bit of dirt, a little bit of mud, some rocks possibly, but it also raised their riding level because of the competition right beside them. It forced them to go out of their safety zone. Let's take another look here at Dusty Beer. Man, he eats it big time.
Yeah, that number 7 machine right side of your screen takes what you would call a header. And the bad part about that is you watch it close here, he'll face plant right about now, and then the rear wheel comes right down what appears to be on that helmet. And Dusty Beer temporarily looks like he gets knocked out. Speaking of knocked out,
Oh, yeah. On the Edge is brought to you by Lucas Oil Products, made in America, sold to the world. General Tire, unleash the fury. And by Erickson, tie it, move it, tow it. Count on Erickson.
There weren't any boat races within this season of OTE, so we took it up a notch with snowmobile watercross and swamp buggy racing. The water was spraying and we were there to cover all the action.
We saw some awesome stuff this year, no question about it. Some stuff that was brand new to us. Now, we have seen this before, but it's always exciting to watch the snowmobiles get up on top of the water.
yeah, keep an eye on them. I mean, these things are specifically built for the water. But look at this close side-by-side drag race. I mean, it was awesome.
Jerry Rinker there in lane 3, you can see actually kept his sled a lot closer to level than the other 3 competitors. Therefore, the belt was getting some more bite and consequently ended up out in front, even though he got a bit of a later start.
Yeah, you take a look at all 4 sleds right here. Rinker's machine, second in from the camera, is closer to skimming that water. His actual front skis are down just a little bit lower, and usually that doesn't work, but it did in this case for Jerry.
Great onboard shot there as well.
Oh, baby.
A little close there for comfort. All right, let's go down to Southern Florida, Naples, for the Swamp Buggy races. It's great to see these guys back on TV again.
Eddie
gals.
and Amy, the Chester family, that's right. They have been doing this down there forever. Now look at the offset on Amy's car. And you gotta remember, this is the big modified category, so this is the class with 600-700 cubic inches in them, Ken, with dual carburetors and even some nitrous.
And they really drive hard. I mean, you see them get in there and really dive into the turn. Of course, the sippy hole was right there, but these particular machines carry so much speed, especially with those big skis, that you really don't even see the sippy hole, but some of the slower vehicles, well, they all but disappear.
Eddie Chester currently in first place. Amy is part of the family. Amy actually is one of the daughters in the Chester family, and the Chesters have been part of this thing since day one, and it goes back a long, long way, I can tell you that right now. And right straight to the sippy hole, the skis, and Chester takes another win here at DeMont County.
Okay, we're going to go oval racing this time on the snowmobiles on water. This is what caught our attention this year. Amazing ability out of these riders.
Yeah, you can watch them, and there's 2 different lines you can run here. There's actually 2 sets of buoys that you can go around. And if you didn't notice it, I'll tell you that the quickest 4 machines from qualifying the heat races got to lead first. Whoa!
And that's how ugly it can get and how quickly it can get ugly. You can see right there, it just pulls the seat off the safety rope, basically saying, hey, I'm out of competition right here. The water not real deep here. Good for them, so they'll be able to recover that machine pretty quickly. But another important part of this style of racing is you can see the water gets a heavy chop. So you have to learn how to deal with that.
Yeah, when you very first start running, before lap number 1 is complete, it's fairly smooth. However, you get 6 riders going around here. This is the result. Andy Bussey, your champ.
Don't go anywhere. We have more great OTE action coming your way when we return. OTE doesn't have an off season. Spring, summer, fall, and winter. If there's a race, our crew's there to bring you all the action. We found some great ice racing this season. Let's check it out.
Yeah, the guys from the On the Edge crew definitely buttoned up as they headed up north, and it was snowcross racing out of Wisconsin. As you can see, the snow was thick. It was also very rough, rutted up, plenty of jumps here, and again, some very talented riders.
Ken, you remember we went to Alaska, but when we were here in Wisconsin, you remember how cold it was? It was like 15 below, as I recall, when we ran this event right here.
Yeah, and those guys out there running the camera said it was really cold. Of course, we were nice and warm inside. It was brutal cold, though. But more importantly, the racing out here was exactly what we planned on. Side-by-side stuff, very exciting.
Yeah, Brett Nastala took off from the very start. And, of course, if you get a good lead and you can run yourself, it's not really call it clean air, but without having to battle anybody beside you or watching your back so much, you obviously will have an advantage here and be able to pretty much focus on racing the racetrack, if you will.
A long race here as they look back in a brutal course. We talked about it before. It will definitely take the steam out of you, pump those arms up. Very difficult to hang on, but for the guys that were in good condition, in good shape, and suited up for this style of weather, and of course this kind of race, and they hung on just fine and put on a show for everybody. You can see a lot of them looking for the competitors beside them to find out how much room they have.
Yeah, they're trying to find the best spot because there are better spots to use on the racetrack itself. As you watch that bright green machine take the final flag, that's the white flag, signifying the last lap of the event. He's got competition coming up now for second, third, and fourth. Trying to play catch up here. This could be a tight one right here at the finals, I recall.
Yeah, the battle for second place was definitely the best race on the track, and it ran right down to the wire. Nobody had anything for Nastala. He was doing an awesome job. The checkered flag flies. He picks up the win. The battle for second, third, and fourth was awesome.
All right, Hoffman Estates, Illinois. We start riding motorcycle, two-wheelers on the ice, baby.
Not a game of the faint of heart. Of course, the studs and the tires to give these guys a little bit of grip, and they ride them hard.
Yeah, it doesn't look like you would get a lot of traction, but they were doing quite well. And not no great big stadium, you know, not a football field style deal here. It's more like a hockey rink, not the biggest thing in the world. J.R. Schnabel and that machine was dominant throughout the course of the evening.
Schnabel also dealing with another competitor that was sitting right in the middle of turns 3 and 4, of course, out of power.
Yeah, coming right out of the apex there. Now that thing finally is off the side of the racetrack. Kind of clear things up a little bit.
You can also see the fenders on both the front and rear tires covering the biggest portion of those tires to keep from tearing another guy's legs up.
And that's one thing. And the other thing is it also keeps that ice from actually flying up and hitting you in any way if it possibly could. But you're right, for the most part, you try to keep those things covered. If that makes contact, it'd be just like an open wheel car, and that baby go flying.
White flag out, you can hear them in. When they get on the throttle, these things have plenty of torque. It is just a quick burst of horsepower.
Schnabel comes around, he'll take the checkered right here. And again, just dominant here this weekend at Hoffman Estates.
A little bit of traction for you. A Pro Bike winner, number 33, J.R. Schnabel. Congratulations to him. Again, these guys just hanging out, looking for that flag. See up there as well. No brakes in the front of those things either. Okay, now we take you to Brainerd, Minnesota. We showed you a hill climb before on motorcycles. Now we'll do it on snowmobiles.
Yeah, and I want to tell you something. This is the first time we covered this event. You can tell by looking that there's some man-made snow that's been put in position here. It actually got a little bit warm up here in Brainerd, so they put a bunch of it on the track surface. But watch these things fly through the air. It's like a straight line motocross track, baby. It's awesome.
And you can see when they take off, they shift their body weight backwards to get as much traction as they can onto that belt. But these jumps kick them off sideways,
Whoa!
And it gets ugly in a hurry.
That is the result. I told you it was like motocross drag racing on snowmobiles, and that's indeed what it was.
Another look at it here. The previous jump got him out of shape, tried to hang on to it, sashayed back and forth 2 or 3 times, and then eventually just pitched him up and over the handlebars as he was in the process of going over yet another jump.
And the only fortunate part of that was he landed behind that thing, and also that the competition was heads up enough to see that was going on and actually made a great move to evade that accident right there.
We'll continue on here. Another thing, too, is these sleds are just violently fast. A lot of horsepower. They have great grip.
And it looks like they only weigh 100 pounds the way they fly through the air. I mean, and some of them are going 20 feet, 30 feet out. You know, they're on maybe 10 feet in the air. And I'm going to tell you something. These things, like you said, they're lightning fast.
Another look at the start here as they were all lined up. And then watch the big air off this top jump. Of course, a back marker there and busy eating the snow. A lot of ice and snow down in there, so a pretty tough fall here today. Look at that air, man. Sailing one out, baby. That's what it's all about. When we come back, we're going to go a long ways to go racing down to New Zealand.
So far, we've covered mud, water, ice, and snow. What else is left? Dry land showed our viewers some of the best racing action. We covered everything from drag racing to figure 8 races this season.
Okay, we're going drag racing right off the bat. Some of the best in the country. The battle for the belts. It is Texas.
Jason Hampshire, left side of your screen. Josh Hernandez on the right side of the screen. And right there past the finish line, Jason Hampshire's car takes a hard left-hand turn into the retaining wall. And I mean to tell you, that's as hard a hit as you'll ever see. Now watch it from the starting line, high up in the air. There's the finish line. And right there, that thing makes a violent move to the left. He tries to correct it back to the right. And as he does, again at 200 plus miles per hour, that thing goes right square into the guardrail. And Ken, you're almost better off to hit it head on.
There was a very scary moment for everybody that was here. Those lateral hits are so violent. Very hard on the head. All right, time now for some wheel stand action. The fans absolutely love it. And the racers come out here and throw caution to the wind.
Oh, this is a way cool old style nostalgia Chevy 2. Whoa, he breaks the front axle on the thing.
Well, the wheel stand competition, I mean, if he did his job there, the front end would have been up a little bit longer. He'd have been okay, but unfortunately for him, he rotated back so hard the rear tires came off the ground. It landed so hard it knocked the front tires off the car. That was done.
Now, the period-built car, and you got to think if it was built somewhere in the early 70s or late 60s, that front axle may have come from the 40s or the 50s, so had plenty of years on it. This was good here.
Rob LaCroix, the 06 Pontiac Sunbird.
Urban Action Hillbilly Video Machine. Whoa!
That's hanging on to one right there. If you need to sand down the side of your car, he's got it patent, man. Rubber right down to the roll cage, but it was unbelievable. Watch this thing. Rotates up, stays on the power, everything looking good, and then it unloads the left rear, driving off the right rear, sends him across the track. After that, it was over.
The wheel stand competitions have become so popular that there are a number of purpose-built cars just for this competition, and this is one of them. And LaCroix stayed right with it as long as he possibly could. It was wild.
Now, this was a lot of fun. Super stock team racing in New Zealand. Picture sprint cars with Nerf bars all the way around them because the hitting not only is allowed, but welcomed and encouraged.
Very similar in nature to our Demolition Derby team competition from Joliet that we show here on the edge. But this is a situation we have battles.
I mean, up and over the hood right there. I mean, it is just game on. But yeah, in the team demo, they slow them down with mud. Here, they just let them run wide open.
I was about to say battles all over the racetrack, and speed means nothing. We had jet lag from the 18-hour flight, but I'm going to tell you, it was gone in short notice. All you had to see was a couple laps of this, baby.
It was incredible stuff, to say the least. There's a couple of blockers, a couple of runners, and a couple of crushers. And the game was on as New Zealand was trying to put the Brits away.
Yeah, they did too, man.
The Mint 400, Las Vegas, Nevada. That's a look at Cameron Steele. running the final lap here, each lap 100 miles. He and Andy McMillan were separated by less than a minute going into the final 100 miles of this contest. Unbelievable.
And you got to remember, you know, one lap here is not a few seconds. It's a matter of hours. And when you're separated by a matter of minutes, at the end of this thing, you're right, Ken. After 400 miles, it's nothing short of a miracle.
Of course, the trucks are incredible. There's a look at Andy McMillan, of course, a name that is synonymous with desert racing, up through his father and his grandfather as well. Cameron Steele rolling in here. It had some brake issues throughout the day. They actually had to bleed the brakes at one point, maybe even a couple of different times. They were also making some co-driver changes, but the equipment here, I mean, you're talking about some very expensive trucks coming out here to compete at this level of racing. The fans once again were treated to a great race.
We're not done yet. Don't go anywhere.
On the Edge has been brought to you by Lucas Oil Products, made in America, sold to the world. General Tire, unleash the fury. And by Herculiner Truck Bed Liners, when the tough come easy.
The Lucas Oil Crash Lab has been a fun addition to this season of OTE. We opened our vault and brought you some carnage-filled crashes. For this edition of Crash Lab, we'll show you the best crashes that happened this season.
The Lucas Oil Crash Lab will start off in Knockney Bay, Alaska.
Oh, one of the greatest stops that we ever get to be a part of.
Yeah, we had some stuff going on here. Watch this. I mean, it was literally one four-wheeler driving in, up, and over another, and unfortunately, two of them ended up with their backs pretty muddy, and there went the safety crew to help them.
Woo!
Watch the cameraman on top. That was our snowmobiles on water, the drag racing segment, and right up and into the scaffolding.
There's the camera version of it right there, baby.
By the way, he got a bonus for saving that $100,000 camera, and he stayed on him the entire time.
And all he got out was a black eye. Whoa, man, that was crazy. That was lucky, really, man. Whoops. Speaking of black eyes.
Dan's got two for the price of one here. Not only was it a race, but it was a fight. Just remember, when you do this, you always want to keep your eyes on your shoes because somebody might just want to take them away.
Yeah, because if you've got your helmet on, there's very little you can take off except your shoe.
This has been an exciting episode of Lucas Oil on the Edge. For Ken Stout, Brian Olson, and all of the OTE Pit Reporters, I'm Angela Jenkins. Log on to speedtv.com and link over to newwavetv.com for a list of upcoming OTE shows. Remember, you're not living unless you are on the edge.